Go ahead, call the meeting to order. Roll call. Cindy, is Cindy present? Do not see Cindy. Marlene,
Here.
Heather,
Here.
Kim,
Here.
Joe,
Here.
and Jim.
Here.
Thank you. And I'm Jared. Roll call complete. Approval of the agenda for September 25th, 2025.
I move we approve the agenda as written.
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Okay. Approval of board minutes from August 28th, 2025.
I move that we approve the minutes from the last meeting.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Visitor comments.
None submitted.
Board member comments. Marlene?
Listening to the candidate forum last night, I was pleased that there was such strong support for keeping the new hospital as the #1 listing on the borough's capital requests.
Any other board member comments? Committee reports, resource. I don't actually have anything on that myself. So we'll probably get most of that from Jason during the financial report. LTC quality,
I'm afraid I missed that meeting.
okay. CAH quality,
Yeah, this is Joe. I attended the CAH quality meeting on September 17th. Some of the highlights, went through the action item list, discussed the digital formulary, the health maintenance tab, and talked about the skilled stay auto reminder pop-ups, which seem to be working. We went through the incident reports. Incidents for the last few months were down. Had some reports on primary care, where it was mentioned the overall rate of well-managed patients has increased in the last 6 months, and access to care metrics were reviewed. We had a report on skilled nursing, infection control, where we reviewed microbial and hand hygiene metrics. We got a report from therapy mentioning that their department will be fully staffed starting Monday. I think we see that in the reports tonight as well. I had a report from radiology and from the lab. The lab metrics were reviewed. We had a report on nutrition and wellness, and talked about falls prevention and wellness, and the new Tai Chi program starting September 20th, and a new website design project that has been initiated. And then we adjourned.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions for Joe on that? Infection prevention quality?
Yeah, this is Joe again. The infection prevention meeting followed on the same day. We had a report from Aaron, Public Health, that talked about the flu vaccine workshop, which was forthcoming. We discussed infection prevention, again, work on hand hygiene. And then we went over some of the action items. Work on handrails is ongoing. The inventorying of the cleaning chemicals has been resolved and taken off the action item list. We talked about antibiotic stewardship, and also the new salon chair up in long-term care, I believe. And then the meeting progressed to a roundtable, and we talked about various things like the storage room and how there were no novel infections reported by the lab, and blood contamination rates remained very low for blood tests in the lab. And yeah, and that was about it. We adjourned.
Thank you, Joe. Any questions regarding that report? Thank you. We'll go on to pharmacy. Did anyone have any questions regarding the pharmacy report? Go ahead, Marlene.
Elise, what's a Pyxis unit?
Pyxis unit, yes. Sorry for not explaining that. That is an automated dispensing cabinet for dispensing medications, which makes it the cabinet itself will interface with the medication record, which when the nurse goes to the Pyxis unit, they will look up the patient and the unit will automatically open the drawer for the medication that is appropriate for that time, which makes it easier to choose the correct medication and improves the records of what was removed and administered and when. So we are looking forward to implementing this new machine. Right. The Pyxis will also be used for controlled medications, which makes it clearer which drawers were opened during a shift. So it will be easier to accurately track administration of those controlled medications. The nurses can count the drawers that were opened during the shift and make sure those are accurate. So, yeah.
Any other questions for Elsie? Thank you for that report. Rehab department. Were there any questions regarding Brenna's report? Thank you for that report, Brenna. Plant maintenance. Any questions regarding Wolf's report? I understand you guys had another pipe failure here not too long ago.
Hi there. Yeah, this is Wolf, and yes, we did. We had quite a large section of our gray water system, which is basically anything besides sewage, that failed. It's just a cast iron line that got to its life expectancy, I guess.
Thank you. Thanks for your report, Wolf. Environmental Services. Any questions on the report Brazel submitted? Thank you for that report, Brazel. New facility. Do we have any questions on Justin's report?
I have one.
Yes, Jim.
It talks about having a concept design review coming up, not October, I guess, I think it was. And I was wondering if that's going to be in February or a Zoom meeting, and can any of the board members attend, et cetera?
Hey, good afternoon. Justin Watts with Arcadis. Thanks for the question, Robert. And we haven't quite figured out exactly when we're going to start the concept meetings. They are going to start virtually, and I'm happy to send out invitations to anybody that would like to be part of that.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, in terms of the design team, Bettisworth, they did come to Petersburg and did a facility assessment on the existing hospital, and that also kind of ties into the concept design for the long-term care. But there will be future site visits down the road, but we're going to start off with a virtual kickoff meeting sometime in October. We haven't quite determined that yet, and then we'll kind of go from there and see how it progresses.
Okay, thank you. I wouldn't mind joining that.
Absolutely.
Okay,
You bet. I'll send you an invite.
thank you.
Any other questions for Jason? Justin? Thank you for that report, Justin.
Thanks.
Executive summary? Or wait, hold on. Quality report. Quality report by Stephanie. Did anyone have any questions regarding that report? Thank you, Stephanie, for that report. Infection prevention report by Rachel. Any questions on that one? Thank you, Rachel, for that report. Now, executive summary.
Thanks. This is Phil. Submitted my report, and then I'd like to expand on a couple of items that occurred that are not necessarily captured in here, or maybe worth expanding on a little bit. First thing is, we took a group down to up to Anchorage for the annual Alaska Hospital and Healthcare Association conference and board meeting. So thank you for our staff. We took Chief Medical or Medical Director, Dr. Hess, Jennifer Briner, CNO, Joel, our controller, and then Jared, obviously from the board. So we had a good group there. It's an important meeting. And then we also had Katie Bryson, our grants and strategy, who lives in Anchorage, come down also. That meeting was important from the standpoint that we need to be very vigilant and aware and up to date on the healthcare transformation funds that are going to be hitting the Alaska and the states for the part of the $50 billion allocation across the state. So Alaska is positioned in that way, and we need to be aware and vigilant of the sort of the constraints and what's allowed and what's not allowed. And during the meeting, actually, was when CMS provided the funding notice and on some of that detail. So the next steps really are for the state to put a plan together that they have to get in by November. I think it's November 5th. And then as early as January is when sort of the funds will need to be sort of released or accepted and released. We'll have to wait and see on what we can capture in that. As far as I know, new capital, a new facility was not part of that, but we'll have to wait and see on the details of that. So keeping that vigilant, making sure that the hospitals are aligned and working with the state was a big focus of that conference and the board meeting. Earlier in the week before the conference started, we had a board meeting, and then we also had a HRSA collaborative meeting, which is a HRSA grant that we received. And part of that grant is to collaborate with other community hospitals, independent community hospitals. That includes South Peninsula, Cordova, and Petersburg. And that was facilitated by Agnew Beck. And they really looking at ways that we can work together and collaborate. And it's funded by the grant that Katie Bryson helped facilitate also. And she was present for that meeting. So more to come on that. It's kind of an interesting time when you have the HRSA collaborative networking grant and then also with the transformation funds, and could we bridge the two together in some project that we can receive funding for and actually transform healthcare at a community level. So those are things I'll keep you appraised of as we know more. In other aspects, the work building, which is the new facility campus building, we're continuing to stand up that building and get those components online. It's been very busy inside the building. We're still working on getting the conference room set up for audio visual. We're also working on getting the MRI set up completely and the education or community computer room, and we will keep you posted on that as well as we keep going. It's been very active in there. It's going to take a little bit of time to get some of these processes worked through, and then once we have that sort of a deadline around that, we'll keep the community posted on a ribbon cutting and open house. In the meantime, Public Health did have their first community outreach flu shot clinic. That was very successful. Quite a bit of people showed up. I believe over 120 people showed up. So that seemed very smooth and worked really well because Public Health is there. They didn't have to go to another facility. They just went across the hallway into the conference room and had a really good setup. So far so good. In other aspects related to patient care, we had dermatology come again, and they were here last week and saw over 120 patients. So that was a very successful visit, and he was here for 5 days this time, which was excellent. And we're slated to have Dr. Kapp come down again, our optometry, September 29th to October 7th. So we're very glad to see those continue on. We are the Walk with the Doc program, also very successful. That's with Dr. Hess, and that's really sort of it's a national program, and really it's to kind of connect with the community and discuss a health-related topic, walking with one of our physicians, and that will be at Sandy Beach on October 11th, Saturday, October 11th, between 9 and 10 a.m. Hopefully the weather won't be like tomorrow or anything like this weekend, so looking forward to good weather and a good turnout. Next week, we'll have our manager works. It's not, we used to call it a retreat. I think the language is not the greatest because we do a lot of work. And so it's more of a work session. That'll be next week. Obviously, the invites to board members as well for that. Spend a day and reflect on the past year, evaluate the past year, and then set the stage for the upcoming year around our strategic plan. And those are my updates. Do you have any questions for me?
Questions for Phil? Thank you, Phil. I have PMC Board Grant Report. Was there any questions on the fiscal year 2026 grants update? Thanks, Katie, for that report. Financials. Jason?
Yes, thank you. I presume you can all hear me?
Yes.
So we have, it's been a busy summer as is typical for our organization. So primary care visits 865 in the month of August, a little more than in July. Radiology remains busy, 251. Lab tests jumped up a little bit. I'm not sure if we had a little bit of a health fair or something. 2,537. Rehab is doing well in August, 1,089. Home health visits continue to grow, 304. Emergency department, typically we do see up in the hundreds, 90 to 100 visits a month in the summer months. That will probably decline here in September. Typically in the winter time, we typically see about 60 to 70 visits. Observation. Acute care, we had 20 patient days in the month of August, so not quite one a day. Our swing bed, we had 69, so that's more than 2 patients in the building per day there. And our long-term care was busy at 403. This ICF bed days right here, that's kind of our waiting spot for people who are in our swing bed unit waiting to be placed in the long-term care facility. So when we see that, it just indicates we have a very full long-term care facility and just waiting to get those patients in. So coming down here to the financials, I'll talk a little bit about the month. So you can see we had a busy month, $3,111,000 for our gross revenues. Probably the highest revenue producing month that we've had probably ever. We couldn't find one. Joe looked for, but he couldn't find one that was that high. Contractual adjustments are higher, due partly because we had a high gross revenues, but also we had some write-offs due to some diabetes testing that is charged for in the long-term care facility, but we write those off before we bill because it's a part of the service of being in the long-term care facility. So we had some catch-up write-offs that needed to be done and some other adjustments. Bad debt is normal. 340B revenue, 53,000. So that's pretty typical. And we've been running in about the 53. We are trying to search with our third-party administrator who assists us with that program, see if there are other pharmacies off island, like mail order or something of that nature, where patients are having their scripts filled so that we can contract with that pharmacy and participate with them. Otherwise, grants are normal, a little higher for the in-kind, the PERSAC use. This has to deal with a grant for the connection to the new work building to provide data access to that facility. So that's up. Expenses up just a little bit, 1.2 million for salaries and benefits. We had some longevity incentives that were paid. Contract labor is down a little bit. Employee benefits is up because payroll was up, taxes and things associated with that. Supplies is most likely due to the 340B program. In total, our total expenses, 2.4, almost 2.5 million against a budget of 2,279,000. So it's 188,000 above budget, but due once again to busy census and some kind of little larger than normal expenses for payroll, but we'll see that come down in subsequent months. They're more of an irregular payment. So the income for income or loss for operations for the month was 174, almost 175,000. The main reason why we're seeing this is, we've completed the work building and moving in. We have some expenses for miscellaneous things. We have some utility bills now that we're paying for different things. We're recording the depreciation. You see that down in the next section. We don't have the MRI going yet, so we don't have that additional revenue. And we haven't quite factored this into our cost reports. We've educated the community through this whole process that depreciation flows through the cost report, will get reimbursed. We need a couple of months to be able to calculate that. We need to see kind of a completion of the certificate of need. So I do anticipate as we get into this 3-4 months and we get our cost report completed for the prior year, which is in process, that we will be able to true these numbers up and understand how that cost-based reimbursement will cover some of these additional expenses. Okay. We had some grants. We're still working on finalizing some of the expenses for the work building. So you see the grants related to that to 797. And so a net income position of 570. Look at the year to date, we're still doing okay. We are showing a net loss in operations of 76,000. But once again, when we do the true up for the depreciation expense and some of those, we'll see that go away. So overall, feeling very good about opening the work building and how it's impacting the organization. The cost in terms of the utilities and things of that nature is not burdensome, and we will see some positive income come from that. Couple glances here at the balance sheet, $1.6 million in our normal cash account. We did have a little bit of an anomaly. Medicare implemented a edit to their claims processing software, had to deal with critical access hospitals and what's something called method 2 billing. And so they weren't processing those payments. So that was remitted from or withheld from our payments. We'll be seeing a catch-up payment come here in September or October. I don't think we've quite seen that correction. They did lift the edit, but they're reprocessing those claims. So we anticipate that coming through. The normal investments are short-term investments, $2 million. And then when you come down here and look at the investments, building fund, 4.6. And so you add all that together and our cash balance is doing fairly well. I think we're upwards of over 100 days cash on hand. And so we have some good liquidity at the time. So accounts payables are normal that we have seen. I think the best way to kind of explain the balance sheet is we go to the next page and we kind of look at some of our key performance indicators. Once again, you saw that our contractual adjustments normally are around 18%. They jumped up to 35 due to those write-offs for the diabetic testing. Bad debts are normal at about 1.5. Operating margin negative. We'll explain that. Total margin 18%. Days cash on hand 108. Good to see that. Days in AR 72. So that's net. So up a little bit because of that write-off of the contractuals. And then days in AR gross is 83. We are starting to see in September this number come down. I know we had some, we insourced the business office and we stabilized. We brought it down and it was up in the 90s. But we've got our team trained and focusing on various elements of the accounts receivable. We did have a little bit of a glitch. We had some computers that we had purchased and were placed with our different remote billers that kind of went black screen on us. And so Jill and her team worked hard to get those fixed. Days in accounts payable 16, which means, for the most part, we were paying our bills within 16 days last month. So doing fairly well. Investments, we had a good month with the investments. That all went well. A couple projects that we're working on right now. Of course, we have the audit that's underway and going well. Then we'll be working on the cost report. And we concluded some negotiations with Aetna, and we have been in an initiative to be able to get all of our payers, Blue Cross Blue Shield, MODA, Aetna, at similar rates. So nobody has an advantage over the other. That's important. Make sure they're all working well together. And so the last one we needed to make some adjustments to was Aetna. We were able to complete that. And so the new rates for Aetna go into effect October 1st. So just a variety of little things that we're trying to do to strengthen our financial performance as we go into the next couple of years. And we know about the one big beautiful bill and different cuts in federal spending, things of that nature. Just want to make sure that our house is completely in order. Few last remaining compliments or comments. And number one is very much support the idea of implementing the Pyxis system. Joel and I participated in negotiating some of the pricing, the final pricing there. I don't know that I hadn't heard that we've, finalized a decision. The quote that we had received is some existing equipment, or meaning it's current design. They're coming out with a new design this coming year, and so I think there was some question. I posed the question if we want to wait a year and buy the newer equipment, or if we want to enter an agreement, on this older equipment, which is still tried and true. Pyxis is a workhorse. I don't have any problems with them and any of my clients over the years. There's, more of a Cadillac system, but it costs more. There's a cheaper system. I think going with Pyxis would be the best decision for us. And I think that's all of my comments, and just want to always appreciate working with everyone in the finance team, all of the department managers and everyone. I appreciated Jared calling me Justin. I think he's a brother from another mother. He's got a more perfect head of hair than I do. So we always enjoy working with him. And I thank Sarah and Joel and everyone for their hard work. Marguerite for running the office there. So back to you, Jared.
Thank you. Any questions for him? Thank you, Jason.
You're welcome.
No old business, no new business. Next meeting is scheduled October 30th, 5:30. This your last meeting? Yeah. This is Kim's last meeting. Thank you for your time. Do I have a motion to go into executive session for the purpose of considering medical staff and any legal concerns?
I'll move. Heather.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.